Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Matt Bernier. Opening day at Gulfstream. The winter is here. We're going to see some great racing over the next few months at Gulfstream during their championship meet. But first things first, Claiming Crown Saturday. We kick off the 50-cent pick 5 with race number 7, the Tiara, at 1.1 miles on the turf. Good spot to play some of that bonus money from DRF Bets, a 300% deposit match when you sign up at bets.drf.com. Here's the field for the Tiara. It's at 1.1 miles on the turf. It's a big field, and we're going to have a big favorite. The number 12 Starship Jubilee was third in this race last year, but her class is undeniable. She's won 11 of 24 starts. She won a graded stakes race at Woodbine 2 starts back, and she took them a long way in the Grade 1 EP Taylor last time out. The main concern, an outside post.
Yeah, terrible post for her in this spot, but you hope that you kind of can get around that with the fact that she loves Gulfstream. She's 7 of 13 lifetime there. She's 11 of 24 overall. And if you're strictly a figures player, I mean, she lays over this field. She laps this field. There's no one else that's remotely close. But you bring up that outside post. Put it this way: the outside post was the reason that I'm not picking her. If she was more favorably drawn somewhere to the middle of the field, I would just look at it and say, I don't. Even if she were to lose, and she may not be the most trustworthy, I just don't have much interest in trying to beat a horse like this, especially in a field like this where, let's call a spade a spade, there's no superstars.
That's true enough. I've always been a big fan of Starship Jubilee. I tried to get her home in the Taylor last time out to no avail, but following her career, she occasionally runs to the level of her competition where she hulks up in big races, and then you see her in a race like the Tiara last year where I thought she had a good trip, prompting a 50-1 shot. She inherited the lead, and she got beat. Outside post, I agree with you. Trip might mean everything for her. Peru, no such worries. Down towards the inside for Peru. She finished second ahead of Starship Jubilee in this race last year, and arguably is coming into this race in better form. I liked her effort last time out. I think 1.5 miles was a little bit too far for her. She made a 3-wide move going into the third turn of that 12-furlong race, right into the teeth of the pace, made the lead, and was just run down late. The fourth-place finisher came back to win with an 88 Beyer speed figure, and we know Michael Maker's success rate in these Claiming Crown races.
Now, I agree with you about the distance 100%. You go take a look in her 5 most recent starts. You've got 3 of them at 1 3/8 or greater, and you've got 2 sort of in that 1 to 1.1 1/8 range. The 2 at the shorter distances, they're both victories at 2 totally different kind of racetracks. Churchill Downs, Kentucky Downs. Those races where she's been going longer, she just gets a little bit short at the end. I feel like this distance, the turn back, is beneficial. If she shows up with her A race, she's got a big chance.
Let's take a look at the Timeform US Pace Projector, because there's a pretty quick one that deserves a lot of attention in this race, and that's the number 9 Valedictorian. We've got Valedictorian sitting second. The last time she faced the 8 So Innocent was in the All Along Stakes, and Valedictorian was faster than So Innocent out of the gate. They went a legitimate pace. So Innocent backed up. Valedictorian kept going to the tune of a 1:18 Timeform US fig, 86 Beyer speed figure. If Valedictorian can dissuade So Innocent early, she might be tough to reel in.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this thing shakes down, because really at the end of the day, I like her whether she's on the lead or sitting just off of it. And I do wonder if a little bit of that most recent run was a product of that yielding turf, or maybe she just appreciated it and some of the other fillies and mares didn't. But the run 2 starts back at Monmouth, that N2X, that at least gives me the idea that the form that she's in currently, her 3 most recent turf races, they're all bang up. They're all great races, great efforts, and she's done it on the lead, pressing the lead, and sitting just off of the lead. I think in many ways this race, if you don't trust Starship Jubilee, or you don't trust some of the other short prices, I think Valedictorian is the one that's going to call the shots.
We've talked about the 3 favorites in the race. Let's talk about some long shots in post-position order. The 2 She's So Fine, coming off a big win at Belmont in an off-the-turf race. Seems more like a dirt horse, but boy, gotta respect anything Diodoro claims.
Yeah, that's kind of the way that I looked at it. I don't love her in this spot. She's only 1 for 12 on turf overall, but the fact that Diodoro sees fit to claim her and then run her in this spot here, I do find it a little bit intriguing.
Hard for me to analyze the 3 Drinks on Me. I think she's been overmatched in her last 2 races. I remember Mama, who beat her last time out's a nice horse, came back to run third in the Grade 3 Cardinal with an 86 Beyer. 2 starts back, she ran to Beyond Blame, a legitimate stakes horse, and she ran okay. But most of her hay has been made on synthetic, where she's a perfect 3 for 3. Maybe underneath for Drinks on Me.
Yeah, I was going to say that would be the ceiling for me. Her overall turf form leaves quite a bit to be desired, and overall, from a speed figure standpoint, she's just on the light side.
Vendita, coming off a couple of decent efforts, but slow effort. 73 buyers in her last 2 races. She's going to have to up her game. She is capable of a buyer speed figure in the mid-80s, but if Starship Jubilee shows up with the A race from Starship Jubilee, Vendita's in trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, everyone else is in trouble too if Starship Jubilee shows up with a Ray game, but Vendita at least has shown the ability in the past to fire a big shot every now and then. But you bring up kind of the bigger point for me. Her most recent races, she's not in bad form, but from a figure standpoint, she's regressing. And I don't know, we're 6 years old now. We're starting to wonder if we're going the wrong way.
I don't think the 5 you cheated cared for the cut in the ground last time out at Churchill Downs. That race is just too bad to be true. She had been so consistent in her 4 starts leading up to that race that I'm willing to draw a line through it. Her start at Keeneland 2 starts back, not sure it was the strongest 3X in the world. Listen, Dynatail, not the greatest in the world. You Cheated needs pace help up front.
Yeah, I was going to say, if they throw it down early, you know that she'll come with a late run. I agree with you, draw a line through that Churchill race. But if you believe just strictly from a figure standpoint, ever since John Ortiz has gotten a hold of her, she's really taken her game to the next level on the grass. So I think she's interesting if the pace heats up.
Queen Jill's last race, merely a prep. It was her first start off a long layoff. They sprinted her. They obviously had this race in mind. She is much better on the turf, and she's getting back to this surface. My main concern is her win 2 starts back on the turf was slow against a bad field.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I just don't know how good she actually is. A career best fig of 76, simply put, that's probably good for a minor award, or at least a fringe contender for a minor award, but 76 isn't going to be enough to get it done.
And she'll have to overcome this formulator fact. The barn's been cold, dirt to turf the past 5 years, 0 for 29. The 7 is Spicy Nelly. This horse might be better on dirt. 3 for 4 on dirt, 1 for 10 on the lawn. Just could not find an excuse last time out at Gulfstream West. Maybe just doesn't like that surface.
Yeah, it's possible, but this is another one. With the exception of the most recent run, you had those races prior to the layoff. She was in good form, but from a figure standpoint, just painfully slow. This is not a horse right now, based on the numbers, that can win this race.
We talked about So Innocent Speed briefly. Do you think they're going to try to make the lead? I think they will. I think Nick Juarez realizes he's stretching out this time around. It might be her only chance. She has won from off the pace in the past, but if she goes to the lead, Valedictorian's breathing down her throat. If she doesn't go to the lead, I'm not sure she can pass Valedictorian.
Now, and I do wonder if you reverse the post positions with the 8 and the 9, perhaps exactly. The game plan changes, but drawn just to the inside, I think Juarez is one way to go. And unfortunately for these connections, I don't necessarily love the way that sets up.
Morris Forever just simply looks too slow on paper. 3rd start of the form cycle, but big step up in class.
Yeah, career best fig of 69, not fast enough.
Truth in the Lies has done well for Lou Linder, who's had a really nice year in the Mid-Atlantic area based in Parks. This horse ran okay last time out at Belmont. There wasn't a lot of pace on in that salty non-winners at 2 other than. The horse finished evenly. She's got a bit of tactical speed, and I have a feeling she's going to be sitting 2nd or 3rd, and at a big price might give you a thrill on the far turn.
Yeah, to be honest with you, this is the kind of horse that I'd be intrigued with playing around underneath a little bit, just because she's not one that I think is going to all of a sudden jump up and run a high 80 buyer or anything like that, but she is rock solid and consistent. She shows up with a mid to high 70 and occasionally can crack that 80 number. To me, Truth in the Lies, that's kind of the horse that I'd be looking at if I'm playing any sort of a trifecta or superfecta underneath.
Pick time for the first leg of the 50-cent pick 5 on opening day at Gulfstream. The horse to beat, obviously, is Starship Jubilee. We are concerned about the post. Do you think Valedictorian's going to spurt clear at some point in this race? And listen, against this field, far worse places to be than in front.
Yeah, 100%. And again, really, it does boil down to the post position for me with Starship Jubilee. She's generally not the kind of horse that I'm anxious to go and try to take a shot against. And I recognize, and you're 100% right, she occasionally will throw in a clunker when she has no real reason to be doing so. I just feel like Valedictorian, she's going to have the jump on, I would imagine, all of these horses. And at that point, I'll take my chances with her. But to me, there's really only 3 horses I'm interested in. They're the 3 chalks, 9, 12, and 1.
Can Peru stay within range? To me, that's the key to this race. She is cutting back from 1.5 miles. Maybe she'll be a little bit too far out of it. It's up to Julian Leperoux to maybe get her in the race a little bit earlier while saving that valuable ground. I like that last race at 1.5 miles. It is Maker in the Claiming Crown. I'll go 112, 9, and 11 in the Tiara. Kicking off the 50-cent pick 5. You can bet it with a DRF Bets account. Sign up at bets.drf.com. Receive a 300% deposit match. Approximate post time for the Tiara, 2:52 Eastern on opening day Saturday at Gulfstream. Good luck.